absolutely love this show. When you first get into a show, you look at it, you go, what are they doing? What's happening here? And you go, oh, that's dumb. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, okay, I get it now. So, tell me about this show coming along, and these people. I feel like you know them somehow, or like they were relatives, because there's a lot of intricacies to these guys.
Yeah. Well, thank you for noticing.
Yeah.
Yes, Mark Hoagie's, I would say, is based on every single caller to sports radio in Philadelphia that I grew up listening to, and they're all geniuses. And so they, it's like I would listen to that to like fall asleep, and it'd just be guys calling, be like, "What are they doing on defense? They can't got to rush the passer. They got to be doing this. The coach is a moron." And so like all those voices like just sort of manifested into this character of Mark, who is also a little bit of me because I'm a little impulsive.
A little bit, yeah.
And so he's also based on a dad a little bit who talks like that. So he's sort of like an amalgam of all these Philadelphia area geniuses.
Well, and it seems like, the thing I loved about them too is that neither of them recognizes how off either they are or the other person is either. You usually have someone who's like, it could be like the mirror, hey, this is who you are, just so you know. But both of them are full on board for each other as well too. So was that always kind of like the brotherly like symbiosis of things was always there?
Yeah,
kinda?
No, that was important to keep the engine going. We needed Mark to have a sounding board who wouldn't prevent him, would like kind of cause this like feedback loop with him where they would get further and further. And we're like, oh, Hank is like this incredibly gullible person who buys into everything Mark says and sees Mark exactly the way he wants to be seen. He's the only person on the planet because everyone else outside of Mark's orbit, which is just Hank, is just like gonna call Mark out on him being an idiot.
Right.
Yeah.
So you go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say that like that's also based on when we were younger. And Craig actually thought I was like a smart, cooler, older brother.
I was like 9 and I was like 15. He was like, yo, Craig, we gotta go into the field.
Right. He still said Paschetti too. So I know. Can one of you give us the cell story on this title as well as the show itself too? So.
Sure. Do you want me to do it, or do you want to?
You can start. And
okay.
then I'll correct all your mistakes.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, like we had these characters, and we were always looking for some place to put them, and we had different ideas. And then like it was like we were making Game of Zones at Bleacher Report. It was around 2020, and like Andrew Yang had the whole thing about UBI and stuff like that, and it got us thinking like that's interesting, and like thinking about a world where automation is taking over, AI is taking over, and there's gonna be a lot of people out of work, and like, and thinking about like, what happens to guys like Mark and this and that when their identity is around work, and then they all of a sudden have all this free time if their basic needs are taken care of, and it's like, who am I? What do I do with my time? Right. And it just felt like a really interesting like sandbox to play in.
I mean, it was the pandemic, and we were working from home, and we were trying to think of like a new concept, and we're just sitting there, and our wives were like, are you like doing anything right now? We're like, yes, we're on very important stuff.
I'm making a cartoon show.
And then we it's like, and so we just felt like we were always having to prove ourselves that like, that we had a job and that we're doing something meaningful because like we were doing nothing right now. And then there was like, you're looking around and everyone's like teaching themselves how to like bake bread or like learning a new language because like we're all like
coloring.
At home, getting into coloring or whatever. And we're like, you always do that thought experiment when you're like at work and you're kind of just looking out the window and you're just like, man, like I could be a firefighter, like
I could do Navy SEALs.
Yeah, or like I could bet I could fly a plane.
Which sounds like these characters too, because everything is just like I just need a weekend to learn it away from being this.
It's all these things I think, man, if I just had the time, I could do that.
But that's the thing is that like that is the age we're in. Is like there's YouTube, there's like online tutorials for like anything you could possibly think of. You can take like courses and stuff like that, and so there is this feeling of like with enough time, like anyone could do anything if you just if you had the resources. And so like that's kind of like what Mark's like, I'll just watch some YouTube videos about it, I'll be fine, I could be a bow hunter, like he watches 45 minutes of like Joe Rogan.
I listen to Rogan, I know how to kill some elk, no problem.
Well, I think that's one of the problems too. These guys and the world they're in too feels very much like a political category that someone's chasing currently right now. Like we got to get these universal basic guys. We got to figure out how to sell them on what we need as well.
Yeah, well, like the thing is that we're torn because like like you look at like AI and everything that's happening, and like I do think like we've got to take care of people in this situation, and we do, I think people expect, like a lot of people are like, are they going to be making like fun of people on this stuff? And it's like, no, that's not really our intention at all. It's really just like playing with the fantasy of like it's like of what I would do at that time, but also a little bit of like, first of all, you have to have idiots to make a funny cartoon, so you have to do that. And then it's the other thing, we live in a little bit of a time period of like, everybody thinks they're an expert in everything, and like everybody thinks they can do everything. And so that's kind of what Mark is. He's like, I was like, I can fly a plane. And it's like, despite being pilots having years and years of training.
I watched 6 TikToks about climate change. I can tell you exactly.
Right. Yeah, all you got to do is just watch, like I said, you watch Joe Rogan and he gets some smart people up there, and now you know what he knows, which means you know everything.
Right, so, exactly.
Yeah. Well, and that's the funny thing too, because as you mentioned, the radio guy, these are the guys who yell at the coach because they could coach better automatically.
Right, exactly. And that's what it all stems from, like all these guys who think they know more than. Listen, there's a lot of coaches who don't do a great job. It's very easy to be a Monday morning quarterback, but like they're obviously in there like every day, like watching tape, and like these guys watch like half the game while they're hammered, and me included. I mean, I do the same thing, and think like, why don't they run the ball? You gotta freaking run the ball, dude. And it's and so that you apply that logic to flying a plane, bow hunting, becoming a children's music star or whatever. This spoiler alert, that happens. And
you can use the googly eyes, right?
Yeah.
Ooh, wait, I gotta use the googly eyes.
They're not just for special occasions. It's for everyone.
Which is amazing. So I completely lost my train of thought because Craig had googly eyes.
Yeah, I get it.
Holy crap.
No, and the funny thing is, tell me about the art style too, because some of the things in this art style feel much more tragic as well when I see some of the animals and things that happen in it as well. You're like, okay.
Yeah, well, we have a weird thing where we have a lot of ideas about animals, and I think our dad always found like
I used to name spiders and then kill them. Like it was weird. Like
he'd name them before he killed them.
He's like,
you make him sound like he's a psychopath.
Yeah. We'll just talk about spiders. I've learned to love spiders because they eat other insects. But like he'd be like, we'd freak out like, Dad, spider, and then you come in. He's like, that's just Jones right there, and I'm like, that's Jones. And they go, bop, and I'm like,
when'd you kill Jones?
Yeah. And like he would like crack up in movies. Like there's like
that's something about Mary when the dog gets tied to the fan and falling out the window and has a full body cast.
That might be a sociopath. But there's a scene in Anchorman where they punt a dog off a bridge, I think, and there's in Problem Child at one point, maybe played Problem Child 2, I don't know, I'll have to look that up, but like the dog gets hypnotized and like it's frozen into like an obvious statue, and then they like knock it over.
Or when the owl gets knocked out and Dumb and Dumber.
Anyway, Dumb and Dumber, they have So yeah, all those things like would make my dad like lose it and laughing so hard, and I think we developed.
I just want you to tell me he was the town dog catcher too.
Yes,
at the same time.
He was the town dog catcher.
He's the dad in Friday. Like I kick him and I kick him in the butt over and over. So
he's like the dad in Beethoven, maybe is Charles Brennan.
Oh, very cool. And one of the fun things about this is always the voices too. So when you wanted to kind of have these voices, you of course start with the main two. But how did you want to expand out to the other voices in this, and what did you kind of want to have, when you placed them?
Well, it was funny because we knew we wanted to have authentic South Jersey accents in this show because it's a very difficult accent to do. Like no one can do it from outside the area, and an honorable mention to Mayor of Easttown, Kate Winslet, fantastic actress, British accent, and she was able to do a solid job. But when we were casting Tammy, Mark's wife, we were like, we got to get someone local, and our cousin actually was like a fan of this woman on Instagram, Talia Genevieve, and
she did a character called Aunt Terry.
Yeah,
that was like
it was a local phenomenon. She
Philly
just perfectly
mom.
parodied like a South Jersey mom or like a Philly area mom, and we did a casting search for people, and she just nailed it, and she was just.
We had some huge names. They did a great job, but like she just popped off for us as like. She's Tammy, like she's.
But I guess the question is, are you more happy and excited when you see someone see themselves in your show, or you're more worried and frightened?
It's interesting because like we made our own. We came into this by making our own stuff. We did all the voices and everything like that, and we were able to control everything. All our internet stuff. And now you have to open it up a little bit. It's actually a little nerve-wracking to be directing actors, especially like big names like Fred Armisen and whatnot, because we're used to as brothers being like, come on, Craig, that take sucked. Do it again. Or like
I would just give Adam a line read of like anything I thought was wrong. Like you can't really do that when you're working with real actors.
Yeah, so they're like,
well, you move from the stage of let's get a Fred Armisen type to get Fred Armisen.
But we would do every single character on our show, and it was interesting because when we started working with like legit actors, it was like, oh wow, there's a whole world of possibilities that we have to explore. And I think that was a lot of scaling up with this show, was just realizing like what is out there and what's possible beyond just like making cartoons.
Yeah, I mean, also like the names,
apartment.
like it's like, wait, this person would do it. That's a famous person.
Yeah, right.
It's like very surreal. Yeah,
That's awesome. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming and coloring with us. You know, we look forward to this. Fox is a place to find it. And what is the day we're dropping this beauty?
September 8th, after the NFL doubleheader, and then after the Simpsons at 8:30 Eastern time.
Yes.
Please tell me the Eagles are playing something before.
Okay,
Who
actually,
played?
it's the Cowboys.
Yeah.
A disgrace,
I'm
okay?
too happy about it.
A disgrace. I said,
gotcha.
I'd rather be on Monday at 3 a.m.
Maybe the Jersey Nets are also playing elsewhere or something else. That'd be fine too. So I guess just show us what you got. You got here.
Yeah.
We got a little time cruncher, but
Yeah, I focused mostly on the
your
shirts.
shading's really good.
Thank
though.
you,
Yeah.
thank you. And the googly eyes, I like bring it
Yeah,
up.
the Google eyes are really great. Thank you, Craig, for
Very
asking
cool.
about that.
You just really quickly just tell me who the names are here. These characters.
We got Hank Hoagie's here.
You show what they're
Oh, we got Hank Hoagie's here. We got Mark Hoagie's here. We got Tammy, and we got David over there.
Yeah.
David Jingle Bells.
Very cool. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoy Comic-Con and have fun with the family.
Thanks for
thanks so
having
much.
us.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great to do this.
Be good.